Most people don't get this right. And so just to clarify for anybody listening, what lobbyists do, a big part of their job is educating those who are deciding on what legislation to write, how to write it, right? Lobbyists do a lot of education. They build relationships and they educate. Therapists should be thinking about what should we be educating them on that they don't understand. And again, it's removing your own self, your own profession a bit and looking at the bigger picture so you can understand what it is they do and don't know and what it is they do and don't care about, right? So let's start with that. First of all, that lobbyists primarily are doing education. And then the other, so on prior auth. Prior auth is a topic that I think causes the most controversy when I get into conversations on LinkedIn about it. It is coming from a place of, if therapists understood this concept a little bit better, they could advocate for the change that they want. But I think the perspective that therapists have, and there's a lot of truth behind some of what they're saying, is they're making it too difficult for me to see my patients. These people need this care. I don't have to deal with this in fee-for-service. Why do I have to deal with it in Medicare? Let's go back to why we have prior auth, because it's crucial to understanding kind of what can and can't change. So in fee-for-service Medicare, right, which is the best payer in a number of settings, and one of them is generally outpatient therapy, there's never anyone questioning, like nobody, unless you're audited, nobody's looking at what you're billing, right? Yes, you have to and should be absolutely compliant in everything you document, and everything you bill should be, as I'm assuming everyone is, on the up and up and up. But no one is looking at whether or not, unless you're audited, whether or not that's actually happening. But the problem on the other side is that fee-for-service has allowed, and I'm totally not singling out therapists, it's allowed providers of any and all kind to just do what they want rather than always what is medically necessary. And there is no control in fee-for-service over what providers do. I know the backlash is, well, it's nobody's business. The provider knows best. But what we know when we look at the data is that doing more care does not, in a lot of circumstances, translate to better outcomes. So, it's good to know what does and doesn't, right? I will parallel this because I've talked to therapists about this in the skilled nursing world all the time, right? And the American Healthcare Association, which is the Association for Skilled Nursing Facilities, they have had the exact same rhetoric, and it's been very successful. Medicare Advantage is telling us how long we can see our patients. They're limiting who can come. They're limiting how long they're here. The problem with the argument is that when studies have been done, not that there's been a whole lot, the average length of stay is ballpark 14 days in SNFs and for Medicare Advantage. And it's I think at this point, it's 32 days for fee-for-service at about double the per day rate in fee-for-service. And there's nothing to say that those outcomes are any better, right? And so you can have the argument that we shouldn't have prior auth, but it has to link to outcomes. Otherwise, it's just, right, it's blowing smoke. Well, if we're going to say they shouldn't prior auth at all, then prove that what we're doing is worth the care that we're giving, right? It's for a purpose. Every visit is medically necessary. It's a big hoop to jump through, but it's why prior auth exists. Medicare Advantage, they can't control costs if they do what we do in fee-for-service, which is providers do whatever they want. There's a balance there. The article with these big delays in service, well, that's not good, right? We don't want delays in care. We want patients to be able to get their evaluation and get their treatment as they should get it. But that's what separates anything that's managed versus just fee-for-service. Fee-for-service has huge variability, and variability is a problem. And where it's good for therapists is one of the worst places of variability is in orthopedics. And we can capitalize as a profession on that variability in medical spend in orthopedics by demonstrating a vastly different set of outcomes and cost for a number of different diagnoses, conditions, right?
If you'd like to learn more about Strata PT and see how our EMR and RCM works, head over to stratapt.com to book a demo.